So we don't do anything just on a whim. We bring in the experts, and you'll hear from them tonight as well on what their take is of this, because again, they have nothing to gain. They're going to tell us if this is a good idea or not. And I'm one for doing my homework, so I don't do things on a whim. You'll hear from him also. Most important thing is that you're involved, and we want to have input all the way through this thing. And there's a lot of moving parts. There's property owners down there right now that they rent it out to a lot of the merchants that are here tonight. They're very involved in the community, these local merchants. We have developers in here that want to spend millions of dollars in our town. I'm not one of them, but there are developers here tonight that want to spend millions of dollars in our town. They want to do it right as well. So they want to hear all the good and the bad, and we're going to hear that shortly.
We do a lot of these studies, mostly for private shopping center developers, but we also work for cities. And we were very, very pleasantly surprised that today you can support 215,000 square feet of new additional retail shops above and beyond what you have right now. And these shops today could produce up to $60 million a year in retail sales. This is one of the strongest and most underserved retail markets that we've seen in 2 years. This is if Front Street has opened up the cars. The numbers would be only about 15 to 20% of this if Front Street isn't open up the cars.
How could we reopen Front Street to vehicular traffic? So we went through a number of different iterations with that. I'll review those. First was sort of a workaround scheme. If you think about what's in the current right-of-way on Front Street today, we have 2 fountains, one decorative at Stowe Avenue, one for children, a pop jet fountain down closer to Broad Boulevard. There's also a clock tower that is smack dab in what would be the roadway today if we were to reopen the street. And we have this little red dot here is the external stairwell to the green garage, which pokes out as well into the right-of-way. So we wanted to take a sort of a conservative approach at first and look at how can we work around those obstacles, and could we still get a street through. And then we looked at sort of the exact opposite approach. What if we took the street back to the way it was in 1930, 1940, put a commercial street back through, really looked at ways to maximize on-street parking, put as much on-street parking back as possible, and really focus on making this street a purely commercial street again. And I think the reaction of a lot of folks at the public meeting was, that's nice, but it's not very flexible. It's not a very flexible street. We looked at sort of the exact opposite from that. What if we really prioritized festivals and community events, which is what brings people downtown today, and really put in a high level of finish in Falls River Square and identified the fountain area and made this a very flexible street. The downside of this was we started to lose some of the commercial aspects that we're trying to get back on the street. So we kind of went too far the other direction. A lot of people realized that this maybe was prioritizing too much of a good thing. Hybrid approach, which really sort of looks at taking the best of all of these plans. We're able to keep the fountain for the kids on the pop jet fountain on the south side of the pedestrian mall, south side of Front Street. We still have what is a very flexible plaza space at Falls River Square. But we're able to really put more of the traditional shopping street back on Front Street, and what we think is a very flexible design. It can do a lot of things as well as be a commercial shopping street. We made a new entrance to the green garage, not only for pedestrians, people walking to and from the pedestrian mall, but also for vehicles. So now there's a garage access for cars coming up and down Front Street. Really make that ease of wayfinding, ease of finding parking very clear and understandable.